Happy Sunday to you all. Let me zoom in. So I am going to be designing, actually I have the design, I'm needing to see if it's going to work. So while everybody files in here, I'm just going to draw my pattern really quick, just so that we can give everybody a second to get here. Good morning, Lamar. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. How is everybody today? I hope you guys are having a great Sunday morning so far. How are all of you guys? Hello, hello. Let's see, Nicole and Robin. Hi, Robin. Welcome in. Hello, Leilani. Welcome in. Hi, Erica and Denise and Suzanne. Hello to you guys. I don't have the microphone on because I'm literally right next to the microphone on my phone. Hi, Tie-Dye Dawn. Welcome in. And Cecilia, welcome in. So good. So what I'm going to do today for this session of Crochet with JTYA, I am designing a pattern. This is kind of one of the ways I do it. I literally draw a pattern here, and then I put yarn to a hook, and then I check to see if it actually works, okay? So what you're looking at right now is your typical granny square start. You have a chain 4, 3 doubles, chain 2, 3 doubles, and you go all the way around with it. So this is a typical granny square start. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this as a foundation and then grow it into a variation, if you will. So what I have in mind here is I want to implement double crochet crosses, but not around the stitches. So, and I want to include puff stitches as well. So I'm just going to continue drawing this for a few rounds, and then I'll put yarn to a hook. So what I want to do from here is go into my corner with 3 doubles, chain 2, and then 3 doubles. And then I'm going to come over here with my 3 doubles, chain 2, 3 doubles. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to draw out this pattern really quick. It's not the neatest, but if you know how to read patterns, you can kind of see what I'm doing here. So 3 doubles, chain 2, and 3 doubles right there. Good. And I don't chain in between my granny squares here. So I have 2 rounds of a granny square so far. And hello, welcome in everybody. Thank you for being here. Is this for a project that I've already done? No. I'm flying by the seat of my pants here. So I have 2 rounds of a granny. And then from here, hello, Samantha Stewart, welcome in. And then from here, so 2 rounds of a granny, piece of cake. From here, I'm going to do this. So there's that. And then here, I want to do 1 stitch and then 1 puff. Chain 2, puff, 1 double. And then over here, do a cross. That looks so horrible, but that's okay. That's what we do on the fly here. So 1 double and then a puff, puff, double, and then the cross. I think I'm onto something here. If this works, this is going to be another pattern. So there's that and then a puff. Oops, sorry. So puff and then a double. So this is kind of how I design. I put it on paper and then I try it on a hook. So puff and then a double. Okay. So I think we're onto something here. This here may look like jibber jabber to you guys, but I promise you, I know exactly what all of this is. Hello, Britt. Welcome in. Hi, Amelia. Welcome in. Okay, so the first round here is a granny square. The second round here is a granny square. This third round is where the pattern begins. So I'm going to keep this project all on one side. It's not going to flip. Actually, these are chains instead of a stitch. This is a chain instead of a stitch. So yeah, chain 3 and then a puff, and then we're going to go around. And I know for you guys, it's backwards. I'm a lefty, so this is kind of how I have to work it. Okay, so, and then the next round in this chain 2 space, we're repeating this whole section right here. And then these 2 stitches will then cross up here. And then it'll cross here. So I kind of did like a mini sketch before I started the live. And I was thinking odd shapes and all the things. Oh no, that's from the Zoom. Sorry, Jeremy. So that's my rough draft. And then this is an updated version. So I'm going to go ahead and put yarn to a hook. Hi, Fran. Welcome in. Hello, everybody. Okay, so I'm going to move this. Actually, I'll keep this right here. I'm going to start with this colorway right here. This here is Loops and Threads Soft Classic in the colorway Amethyst. Love this colorway. Let me go ahead and get an end here. Give me one moment. Okay. All right, so we're going to do the first 2 rounds as a granny square. All right. Do we have any beginners? Does everyone know how to do a granny square start? I'm going to keep it all on one side. Hello there. Welcome in. Is this real? Yes, it is real. It is very real. Welcome in. All right, so I'm going to start with the slip knot, and then hello, Dark Slayer. Welcome in. And we're going to start with the slip knot, and then according to this, we're going to chain 4. So let's go ahead and chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. From here, we're going to take the tip of our crochet hook and insert it into the very first chain. We're going to go right in here, draw that loop, and slip to close. We're going to take our tail, pinch it against the chain, and gently pull apart. And from here, what we're going to do is, according to this, well, it's not there, but we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to do our granny square. So 1 and 2. We're going to chain 2. Whoopsie. Chain 2, and then we're just going to build this granny square for the first 2 rounds. So for those of you guys that know how to do this, let's just go ahead and start this. We're building the foundation. It's going to consist of 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets all the way around for your first round of a granny square. So that's what we're looking like so far. And according to the pattern, we're going as planned. So we're going to chain 2, insert 3 double crochets right into our chain space. I'm pulling from a skein, so it's not coming out as smoothly as I would like it to. Okay. Oops. All right, so we have 3 sides and 2 corners so far. And from here, I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to place the last side in our circle here. Let's go ahead and do that. So 3 double crochets on this last side, just like this. And to close off the round, let me see here. I'm going to keep this on one side, and the way that I do this, and I don't know if everyone does it this way, I chain 2, and then I come over here and I slip, slip, slip. I slip over all 3 of those stitches. So I look at my 3 chains here, right? I have 1, 2, 3 chains. I'm going to go into that top chain with the tip of my crochet hook, draw a loop, and slip to close. So there's 1. I come next door here into this stitch, draw a loop, and slip. third stitch, go in and slip. So I stay on the same side, and now from here I'm going to go into my chain space and slip as well. So I go from here all the way over here. That's kind of how I keep it on one side. It may not be the way everybody does it, but that's how I do it. I'm pulling more yarn here, by the way. Hello, Kathy. Welcome in and happy Sunday to you and everyone else I may have missed. Hello, a huge hello to all of you guys. Happy Sunday. So from here, we're going to start round 2. So from round 2, we're going to come up and we're going to chain 3 and then do our doubles all the way around. Okay? Or if you're right-handed, you're going to go all the way around. So from here, we are going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to do our classic granny square round. So we're going to go in here with 2 additional double crochets, 1 and 2. We're going to chain 2 and swivel our work around. And let's go back into this corner with 3 double crochets. 1, oops, 2, and 3. We're going to jump over here and do the same thing. And we're going to do this to all 4 sides. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 2. We're going to swivel this around and go back in with 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Let's go ahead and continue on with this. Again, the first 2 rounds are going to be your standard granny square. This is not my perfectly squared granny square. This is your classic granny square pattern where we're staying on the same side the entire time. This is what it looks like so far. So 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to jump over here once again and do that same exact situation. 3 doubles, chain 2, and 3 doubles. So 3 double crochets. Let me fix that last stitch. I didn't like how that turned out. Okay, 3 doubles, chain 2, and then we're going to go back in here with 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Oops. Okay. So this is where I'm at so far. And if you know me or my content, you know that I prefer to flip every round. So this is me exploring, thinking outside of the box. So anyway, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to join the same way I did here. Okay, I'm going to join by going into that top chain before this stitch. And then I'm going to slip all the way over to this chain space. All right, so that's how I close out the rounds. So from here, we're going to look at our 3 chains. We have 1 chain, 2 chains, 3 chains. We're going to take the tip of our crochet hook and go into this top chain right here because there's the stitch. We're going to go right here. We're going to go right into that chain. We're going to draw that loop very carefully. And we're going to slip to close just like that. And that closes off the granny square. Okay. Hi, Helen. Welcome. Good morning. Blanket hello to everybody. Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for hanging out with us for a little while. And from here, what we're going to do is we're going to slip, slip, and slip. We need to get to this corner. So to do that, we're just going to go into each one of these stitches and slip over. Just like this. And then we're going to go into the corner and slip. Okay, so now this is where the fun begins. This very, very interesting round here is going to be how we're going to repeat the entire blanket or square or whatever it is that we're creating. Okay, so what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And from here, I'm going to do a puff stitch, but it's going to be a shallow puff. So typically, puff stitches are 3 yarn overs and pull throughs. Here, we're only going to do 2. So I'm going to yarn over, go in, draw a loop, yarn over, go in, draw a loop. That's it. We're going to go through all of our loops And from here, we're going to chain 3. So it's a chain 1 to lock and then chain 2. And then we're going to do the same exact thing right here. So it's a yarn over, go in, draw up a loop, yarn over, go in, draw up a loop. You should have 5 loops on the hook. You're going to yarn over and go through all of your loops, just like that. And from here, you're not going to chain 1 to lock, chain 1 to move on. You are literally just going to chain 1 to lock that stitch into place. And then right in this corner, you're going to insert a double crochet. So this puff here, actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I don't like that chain 1 there. So I'm going to insert my hook back there. We're going to do that puff and then go right in with the double crochet. I think I like that better. Yes, it's cleaner. Yep, that's the look. Okay. All right, so according to this, we now have to do this double crochet cross, and I'm putting a chain 1 in between this cross up top here to keep the stitch count 3. So if you notice, this is a shallow puff, which counts as 2, and this double counts as 1. So the stitch count is 3. That stitch count is 3. So 3s across the board. Okay. Stitch counts matter here. So from here, what we want to do is we're going to take this stitch and this stitch right here. You see these? Actually, what am I doing? Nope. Sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. So from here, what we're going to do is we are going to, according to this, hold on, let me see. Am I doing that? Let me see. Yes, I am doing the cross. Okay. Yarn over. So I'm going to, am I going to go in that stitch? Yeah, let me go in the stitch. Double, chain 1, and then go into this stitch right here with the double. Let me see how that looks. I don't know if I like that. I don't like these holes here. So I'm going to frog that out, and I'm going to try something else. I'm going to do an extended double crochet. Go through 1, 2, and 2. Yes, 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 yes. Much better. Chain 1, and then extended double crochet over here. Yarn over, come down and around. Now I'm crocheting through the camera, so go through 1, go through 2, go through 2. And then from here, go right into this corner with a double crochet. This is my test run. If it actually pans out, I'm going to do a tutorial for this. Oh, yes, 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 yes. I do like that a lot. Yep. So we have a puff, we have a double. Yes, I like that. That's really, really nice. It's different. And so from here, we're going to do a puff in the corner. So yarn over, come in, draw up a loop. That's 1. Yarn over, come in here, draw a loop. That's 2. Yarn over, go through all the loops, just like that. Chain 1 to lock, and then chain 2 for the corners. And then from here, we're going to go right in with that shallow puff. So not shallow puff, but yeah. Yarn over, go in, drop a loop. That's 1. Oops. 2. Go through all of our loops, just like that. And then go right in with a double crochet. Don't lock that. Goes right in. Yes. Love it. It reminds you of a pinwheel. I love that, Susan. Thank you for that. So extended double crochet here first, and then we're going to cross it over here with a chain 1. So let's yarn over, come down and around that stitch, draw up that loop, yarn over, go through 1 only, and then 2, and then 2. So it's an extended double crochet. chain 1, and then come over here and pick this stitch up the same way. Yarn over, come down and around, draw that loop, yarn over, go through 1, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, and then come right into this corner here with a double crochet. It's going to pull that stitch all the way over. Yeah, this is super nice. I love how that looks. And then 1, and then 2, yarn over and go through all them loops, chain 1 to lock, chain 2 for the corner, and then let's go back in with a puff. 1 and 2. We're going to yarn over and go through all of those loops. We're not going to lock it. We're going to go right in with the double crochet. So the reason why we're putting the double crochets here is because in the next round, we're going to use that stitch to make our crosses. So if you look back here, you see how we have this double crochet standing right here? And then we have this cross. We're going to take these 2 stitches and cross them up here. They're going to become extended double crochet crosses with chain 1s in the middle. And these little puffs, I mean, I could probably get away with making bigger puffs to make it more pronounced. What do you guys think? I mean, to me, it looks just like a granny. There's nothing pronounced there. But I also feel like if I make that puff any bigger, it's going to hinder this double crochet. So probably, maybe I'm going to leave it just like that because I don't want this to be a yarn eater. It will give it a different look, I feel. Yes, I'm going to leave it like that. Okay. The smaller puffs make it more manageable. It's less of a yarn eater, and we like that. So we're going to go to these sets of grannies, and I'm going to cross these 2 stitches right here. So yarn over, come down and around, draw that loop, extended double crochet. So we're going to go through 1, go through 2, go through 2. We're going to chain 1 because we need to keep that stitch count at 3. So that's 1 stitch, that's 2 stitches, and now we're going to come pick this up over here. So yarn over, come down and around, draw that loop, go through 1, go through 2, go through 2. And then to bring that cross over, we're going to go right in the corner here with a double crochet. And then let's go ahead and do our corner. Yarn over, go down. That's 1. That's 2. Let's go through all of our loops. Chain 1 to lock, and then chain 2 to create that corner. And then let's go ahead and do our puff again to finish out this corner. Yarn over, go in, draw up that loop. That's 1. That's 2. 5 loops on the hook. Yarn over, go through all of your loops, but do not lock that. You're going to go right back into that corner with a double crochet. This totally needs to be a tutorial. I'm loving how this looks. Yes, full of texture. In the back, I mean, it is what it is. But I wanted to create something all on one side for those of you guys who don't really care to flip. We have, you know, tons of crocheters that prefer to keep their work on one side. So this is for you guys. From here, let's go ahead and do this. We're going to cross these 2 stitches. So let's come around, go through 1, go through 2, go through 2, and then we're going to chain 1, and then come down and pick this up, extended double crochet right there. Go through 1, go through 2, and go through 2. And to bring that crossover, we are going to literally slip. See, this is the beginning of the round. We have our chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. We're going to go into this top chain right here with the tip of our crochet hook. Draw that loop very carefully. Slip to close, but let's tighten our yarn. Let's tighten everything up. Okay. Tons of texture. Let me bring it close so we can see the things. So we have that cross there. Very nice. We have the stitch, a puff, chain 2, puff, and then a stitch. And then we have our cross. So the stitches, the standalone stitches they're like the bookends to the cross. And then we have the puffs and then our chain 2s. I think this is a really nice pattern. Oh my goodness, guys, we did it. Yes, I do like this a lot. So this is going to need to be a tutorial. I may actually make this into a blanket, like a blanket tutorial. Yeah, I think we're going to need this in our life. So we have a slip here, and then what we're going to do here is we're going to go into our stitch right here. We're going to slip and then go into the corner and slip. And then we're going to repeat that process, chain 3. And so if you look, we have steps here. The chain 3, the chain 3, the chain 3. And again, I don't know if this is the only way that you keep your work on one side, but this is how I was taught, and that's kind of how I do it. I slip to the chain space corner, and then I continue my round. So from here, I'm just going to repeat that pattern where I do my chain and then the puff. Very, very nice. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our puff. So there's 1, there's 2, 5 loops on the hook. Yarn over, go through all 5 of those loops. Chain 1 to lock, and I lock this particular puff because we're making a chain space corner. So chain 1 to lock, and then you make your 2 chains for your corner. And then you're going back in with the puff, but you're not going to lock that because you're closing out your corner. There's no need. You don't have a chain space over here. So you're going to go with your puff. So 1 and then 2. Yarn over and go through all 5 of your loops. Do not lock that. You're going to go right into your space there, and you're going to do a double crochet. It just looks cleaner. See how it matches this side here? Yeah, it just matches. It makes sense. Very, very nice. Beth, yes, this is going to wind up being a tutorial for sure because I'm really enjoying the way that this is working up. So from here, what we're going to do is we're going to take this stitch right here and this stitch here, which is part of this cross, and we're going to carry the cross up. So we are going to yarn over, come down and pick up this side of the cross and do an extended double crochet. Go through 1, go through 2, go through 2. We're going to chain 1 and then pick up this stitch right here, the standalone right after the puff. We're going to do an extended double crochet. We're just going to go around that post, just like that. Go through 1, go through 2, go through 2, and then we're going to repeat this process. So we're going to start over here. We have a puff, and then we have a stitch. So we're going to cross this and this right here. Yarn over, come down and around and pick that up. Do an extended double crochet. 1, 2, and 2. Very carefully. There we go. And we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to pick this stitch up right here. We're going to carry this cross up. Extended double crochet. 1, 2, and 2. Yes. Guys, I like this a lot. That is really, really nice. Wow. Okay, let's hurry up and do this corner here. So I'm going to go in with a double and my puff. Oops. Go through all 5 of those loops, chain 1 to lock, chain 2, and then go back into this corner with a puff. 1 and 2. I don't do the standard 3 puffs. This is just like a shallow puff. 5 loops. I don't want it to be a yarn eater. And then we're not going to lock that. We're just going to go in with a double. Yes, this is going to be so, so nice. Okay. Let's come down and pick this up. Extended double crochet through 1, through 2, through 2, chain 1, and we're going to come here and pick this stitch up right here, this standalone from the puff. Go through 1, go through 2, go through 2, and let's come over here. We're going to go to this standalone right here next to the puff. Extended double crochet, 1, 2, and 2, chain 1, and then we're going to pick up this part of the cross right here. We're going to carry that up. Extended double crochet, 1, 2, and 2. That's really nice. I keep stopping to look at it. Yeah, you just continue the rounds. You just keep going, and you can make a whole blanket this way. Yep. And you see these posts here? It's going to slant. Like this whole side, you're going to get front posts that go in this direction, this way. And then this is going to go this way. This is going to go this way. It's going to look really, really nice. It's lots of fun texture. I'm going to work several additional rounds later on off camera, and I'm going to show you the colors that I chose for this. So we have this color, which is amethyst. We have this color here, which is light blue. And then I'm going to use a spa green. I don't know if I can fit it all on camera, but I'm going to try. And then this color right here. So those are the 4 colors. Oh, wait, I can't forget about this. And then white. So those are the colors that I chose for this project. And the way that I'm thinking about doing this, okay, is for the pattern that I wrote up. The way that I have this written up, we have a 2-round setup round, or 2 rounds of a setup. So granny and granny. I feel like that needs to be one color by itself. And then maybe we can turn this into a 2-bit granny situation where we change colors every 2 rounds. Or, I mean, the possibilities are endless. You can change every 5 rounds. It's a 1-round repeat after a 2-round setup. So, yes, all of this yarn is Loops and Threads Soft Classic. You know me, I love my value yarns. So, all Loops and Threads from Michaels. I'm not an affiliate, guys, but it is on sale right now, $2.70. $2.70 per skein. What yarn addict would I be if I did not at least enable you guys with some yarn sales? So, yes, $2.70 per skein. And, yeah. And I'm using a letter J 6mm hook. So, so good. Yes, yes, yes. It's kind of giving spirals. Yep. So I was thinking pinwheel, but I'm going to crochet this up and see what kind of pattern it gives me. All I know is the stitch counts work every single round, making sure that you follow the sequence where you have your crosses. You take that standalone stitch. That's why I created that. Because you can't really wrap a cross around a puff. You kind of need that standalone stitch to cross here. And then from here, you're crossing the crosses. And then here, you're going to cross this. So it definitely does work. So you're going to rewind for the colors. Well, here, I can show them to you. I don't mind. So we have amethyst right here. Hi, Snowy Cat. Welcome in. Oh, you're making Nana June's Blessings blanket? That's so, so nice. So we have amethyst right here. I can't wait to see it, Snowy Cat. And then we have spa. It's like a spa green. The camera might not be picking it up as a green, but I promise you, it's actually, the camera to me is showing me like a robin's egg baby blue, but off camera, it's green, like a light mint color. And then here you have a light blue. And then here you have what is called periwinkle. Sorry, that's a periwinkle colorway. That's the name. All right, so, and then of course I have white. I thought that these colors just look so nice together. I'm going to back up a little bit to show more of the yarn. I think this is a great pairing. I'm loving these very light colors considering the stitch. You are seeing the light mint, Jeremy. I figured that the stitch here, it kind of does appear heavy-handed. It does look like there's just a lot going on. And one great way to lighten this up, to not make it look so heavy, is to lighten up the colors. So that's kind of where I'm going with this. Now, what I'm probably going to do is after the live is over, I'm going to frog this back and I'm going to go from dark to light. So I'm going to do the amethyst, periwinkle, and then I'm going to do the spa, the light blue, and then the white. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do 2 rounds and then 2 rounds, and I'm going to change every 2 rounds. Because for me, I don't know about you guys, but I get bored of the same color after so many rounds. So to keep my interest, I'm going to continuously change those colors. So yeah, and then here's the back. You have your standard back. I mean, it doesn't look like anything I'd write home about, but you know, it looks pretty standard for what a square blanket would look like. So anyway, guys, stay tuned. This may actually be another blanket tutorial. Very excited for us because guess what? It's not going to take long to do that tutorial. We have a 2-round setup and then we have a 1-round repeat. So the tutorial is probably just going to be the 2-round setup and then just a few rounds of this setup or this stitch here, where I show you like which stitches to go into and all the things. And then you can change colors however often you'd like. I think Blue is saying, I think the light blue and then the spa would make the gradient look better. You know what? Now that I think about it, if we went with, let me see here. So if we did white, light blue, and then this, and then this and this. So if we went around, see, for me, this is looking lighter than this. I guess it's subjective. I don't know. What do you guys think? Here's the back of the work. So you have these like mini puffs. You can clearly see the mini puffs. So I guess in terms of texture, you'll be able to see that. But like, this is going to be exciting. Anyway, I'm going to work this up into a nice size swatch, and then time permitting, I'll run and do this tutorial. This is not going to be like a really long tutorial either, just because it's not really that complicated. Like, we're going to do the setup and then just a few rounds of this. It's probably just going to be as long as this, like however long it took me to show you how to do this, you know. One more wrap on those puffs would look good and not eat much yarn more. So do you think that it would change the stitch count? Because I'm trying to go with 3. So you have the puff, it's 2 yarn overs, right? So there's 2 and then the 1. And then 2 and then the 1. So if I used 3 and then 1, maybe, I don't know. I'll have to see. I'll play around with it. I just want to make sure that it doesn't go cattywampus, you know? We want it to like stay a square. And I thought about using regular front post double crochets, but in my experience, and maybe you guys would agree with me, if you don't extend these front post stitches, you have a tendency for this to shrink and then the edges will stick out and it will start looking like a starburst because all these stitches are pulling down. So I thought, you know, if you extended those front post stitches, it actually will keep it from like dipping in the middle. And it actually looks like it's working. So, yeah. And then I thought about, well, what about the you know, stitches on the bottom part of the cross? And you know what? I'm not bothered by it. I think it looks fine just like that. It's giving like a lattice look. And the goal here is I want this to look like a huge pinwheel. I want all of these front posts, see how they're slanted? I want all the front posts on this side of the blanket to go in that direction over there. And the same all the way around. And it's going to give us like a pinwheel. So, yeah. And the weight of the puff may help stabilize those extended double crochets. Yeah, I will definitely play with that and see. Again, what I don't want happening is my corners to be bulkier than the centers. So after several rounds, I'll play around with it and see. This is so, so nice. Anyway, so that's how I design. This is my process. This is how I literally sit here all the time doing this very thing. And a lot of the things that I crochet and create literally just sit here into piles. Like this one right here. This might actually be just a square motif. Let me show you this. Oops, sorry. Let me move the yarn out of the way. So I did this on my TikTok live last night, doing the same exact thing. And this was the pattern that I came up with last night. And super, super nice. Some of these squares will not be able to repeat. So this is just a motif. But we have 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds. And I think for the 5th round to complete this, I'm just going to implement like a stabilizing round. And yes, if I was thinking about Christmas, holly ivy yarn, I'm thinking about all the things. And yes, it's giving snowflake vibes. So I'm really liking this. This is really standing out to me as part of the design. And, you know, from afar, yeah, I kind of like that. So anyway, this is my process. This is how I design. And then what I do is, look, that's my recipe. And then I take it and I fold it like this. And then I rubber band it and I put it in my bin. And so when I'm ready to roll this out, I just pull this out and then I get right to work. So yeah, you like this square too? Super, super nice. So you're getting first peeks, guys. So this might actually be an upcoming tutorial for the holidays. So very, very nice. And I'm using Loops and Thread Soft Classic in white. A star or a snowflake, right? I love that you guys like looking at this and you're like, I have the perfect yarn for this. Me, I think the opposite. I'm like, I have no yarn. I have no yarn for any of the things. Very, very nice. So I'm going to take this and I just label it project. I never come up with a name until, yeah, sometimes until after I record the tutorial. Is it easier to design with a diagram instead of words? For me, no. I prefer words because, you know, you have to know the lingo. But on the fly, when I literally have minutes, I draw. So I did this. The live started at 10:30. I did this at 10:20. So in 10 minutes, I made this. And instead of writing it all out, I just drew it. Hi, Sabroso. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the blessings and all the things. Beth, the best rule of thumb is to start with a 4-weight yarn and then go from there. Look at what you've crocheted. If you're not liking the vibe of it, maybe it's the color. If you're not liking how it's like rippling, perhaps go to a lighter yarn. There's tons of different ways. Oh, thank you so much, Sean. I appreciate the super sticker. Woo! Oh, I love it. I love the fans. Super, super nice. So awesome. Thank you. Okay, so anyway, what else do I have on the hook? So I have a classic granny square pattern that I am crocheting up. If you've been on my TikTok live, you know what this is all about. I have tons of these squares that I have to do, guys. Look. You know me and my little cards. So I'm making 5 by 5 squares for a queen size blanket, 90 inches by 90 inches. It's 18 squares across and 18 squares down, and I need 324 of these squares to make a queen size blanket. So the way you do that is you literally just take a square, measure it, and then divide it by the size blanket that you want. So to make a queen size blanket with 5-inch squares, you're going to need 324 of them, 18 across, 18 down. Yes, it's a lot of squares, and I'm happy to report that I am commissioning someone to sew in my ends. So I won't have to worry about these ends, but I wanted to share these with you guys and show you my colors. Anyway, so I have this square, and by the way, all of the yarn is leftover yarn from stash. So I have this one, and then we have this one, and I put all the ends on the one side so we have like a clear visual on this side. Good morning, Luann. Welcome in. Next we have, this is very nice. I mean, we have the blink, but that's okay. It's like a very vibrant pink, which is great. Thank you, Peggy. I appreciate that. And to be honest with you, like, I'm literally pulling yarn out of my yarn bags, my leftover scrap yarns. That's all this is. I'm not using any new yarn for this. All scrappy yarns. And then we have this color here. What's going on with that stitch? Okay, so there's that. Next we have this, very vintage looking. It feels like it's all vintage yarn, by the way. Super, super nice. And these are not blocked, by the way. Not blocked. This is just how I crochet. And another thing too I'd like to add is I'm using a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook, and I crochet pretty tight. So yeah, we have this one here, which is like, I guess, a peach, a midnight blue, a magenta-ish pink, and then a sky blue. And one rule of thumb, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I try. I'm not always good at it, but I like to try and, create contrast. So in every square, there should be at least one round of a dark color. So I have, this is the dark color there. And if you notice, every square has at least one dark color. So this one here, we have a neon pink and a neon green. Very, very nice. And of course, we have our dark color. Let's see here. This one I like a lot, obviously, because we have my color there. But yeah, super, super nice. And by the way, I still have one more round to put on all of these squares. It's going to be in black. So every square will receive a round of black yarn, just like this. And then I'll send this off to my dear friend who will be sewing in all of my ends for me and sending them back to me so that I can assemble the squares. Good morning, Trisha. Welcome in. And I did think about it. I was like, I should sew in my own ends, but I don't have the time. I wish I had the time, but I don't. So I'm owning it. So there's that. And then we have this square right here, which, by the way, I should mention this again. I mentioned this a few times. The inspiration for this actually came to me from Trisha, Mama Swift. She did one of these blankets, and she did sew in her own ends. And my goodness gracious, my hat is off to you, Trisha. There's just no way that I have the patience to do this. So very neat. I'm going to make these stacks. I'm going to bag it and tag it and send them out to get those ends sewn in. So what I'm going to do is crochet one of these squares, because we may have someone out there that wants to see how one of these are constructed. We have crocheters of all levels, and I would like to show them how I do it. So I'm going to choose 4 colors very quickly from leftover yarn stash. No rhyme, no reason, just leftover yarns, as you can see. I'm looking for one more color. I know I have some other color sitting here. Yes, I do. I have this atrocious brown. Look, it's all knotted up and everything. My goodness. But that is okay. I will find the end and I will do the things. So I'm going to start with this color because it appears to be high maintenance. Yes, Jeremy, it's tan. Yep. Okay. Am I missing any questions? Continuous join will give you a round of black on every square. Yes, I thought about that, but then my ends, right? So like, if I'm going to commission someone to sew in my ends, and yeah, I don't want to sew in the ends. So I have a tutorial on my channel, guys, where I show you how to join granny squares by going into the windows. You go into the windows with a single, chain two, single, chain two, single, chain two, single, and I'm going to do it in the same color as my black yarn. So it's a very quick, fast, fun, and easy way to do that. And the deciding factor, the deciding factor for me was the fact that I have to crochet 325 of these squares. I'm like, you know what? Who doesn't have that kind of time is me. So I'm just going to gracefully bow out of that situation, and I'm going to commission, well, I've already commissioned someone to do the ends. So once I get those back, I'm going to join that way. Hello, Tammy. Welcome in. And Susan, hello. I hope you send a stack at a time. So you're, yes. So I'm going to send 100 at a time. Yep. Or actually, yeah, 100 at a time. See, because my friend who does my ends, she's very fast at it. One time I sent her 80 of those squares and she had all 80 done over the weekend. So I don't know. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let me just bring you guys down here. Yes, I am a chicken, Trish. Yes. I don't have the powers that be, the fortitude. The cup have runneth over. The cup have runneth over. So I'm going to do just your traditional granny square, right? And I just want to show you how to change colors at the end of the round, because you know a lot of you guys know how to do a granny square. I'm doing this for those who do not, but at least I can show you guys how I change colors and keep the colors where they belong on their appropriate round. Because if you don't change them correctly, the colors will seep into the inappropriate round, if that makes any sense. So I'm just going to go in here and do my square very quickly. 1 and 2. This 5.5 millimeter hook, I have to tell you, I've grown to really enjoy it. I prefer the 6, the brown handle. That's my go-to handle. But this green, it hits in a different way, and I like it. I won't do any long-term projects with this outside of this. And to tell you, the reason why I went with a 5.5 is because I'm using scrap yarn, and all of my scrap yarns are different thicknesses. And I thought if I hooked down, I'm going to make sure to, you know, be able to have more consistency with size for the thinner yarns, you know. Oh, that's really nice, Jenny. Jenny says, I plan to do a temperature blanket in granny squares each month, a different pattern. I think that's a really great idea. That's really nice. Okay, so my color change happens right here. So I do a half double crochet join to the last chain before the first stitch. That's my go-to. You may have something different, but this is how I do it. So I have 3 chains here. I'm going to yarn over, go into that top chain, draw that loop, and I stop right there. This is where I introduce the new color. So I'm going to grab my scissors and I'm going to cut my tail, and then I'm going to introduce the next color. So I'm going to move this tan color. And I'm going to, let's do light blue. So from here, that's very trippy how it goes blur and then clear. So I'm going to wrap it around the hook and pull this blue through these 3 colorways right here. From here, I'm going to flip the project over and tie my tails. Flip over, and I like to try and keep my tails the same length. So if you can help it, bring your tail out a little bit. Make sure that your tails are even. Hi Doreen, I'm using a 5.5mm crochet hook for my squares. And I'm doing that because I'm using scrap yarns and there's different thicknesses here. So instead of going to my original crochet hook, which is a 6, I hooked down to a 5.5. Okay, so I'm just going to tie my tails, which should be sewn in after every square is completed, but as I mentioned, I'm going to commission someone for this. Or actually, I already have, sorry. So as you can see, all the color for this square is literally on the appropriate round. Our new color starts up top here. Okay, so from here, we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. A very clean cut color change. All right, so I'm going to flip my work. Although I like to call it turn the page. I don't know how you guys do it, but or say it. I like to call it turn the page. And then I'm just going to do my granny the normal way. So that counts as a stitch, by the way. And then I just do my 3 stitches, and then I perform this as normal. And if the tails get on your nerves, if they're like too much in your way, stop, stop crocheting and then just sew in your ends as you go. That's probably the best way to do it, like the best practice way. If you don't have any way to commission someone to sew in your ends, sew in as you go. It's going to take you longer, but in the longer and grander scheme of things, you might actually finish your blanket sooner. As goes with the story of the hare, the tortoise and the hare and the tortoise. Easy does it, you know. Just do the process the right way the first time and you won't have to go back again, or go steady instead of rushing to stop. I don't know. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. So yeah, sew in your ends as you go if you can't commission someone to sew in your ends. But I'm going to do this color change with you guys one more time just to make sure you guys get it, and then we'll wrap up the live for today. So I'm almost at the end of this square here, which will be one of the squares for the project, so I'm not wasting time if you think about it. So I like to move the tails out of the way. I'm not going to crochet over them. I tried that and it didn't work. I didn't like how it looked. So I'm just going to go right into the corner, skipping over this knot. 1. Oops, I didn't like how that looked. 2 and 3. So we have our 3 doubles, and then from here we're going to go into that top chain. I usually look for the stitch and then go to the chain right before it. I don't count from the bottom up. I look at the stitch and then go back. Yarn over, go into that top chain, draw that loop, and stop right there. Let's grab our scissors and cut the tail. Come on. And then I'm going to switch over to my contrast color, which is this hunter green. Wrap it around our hook and pull through all 3 loops just like that. Let's grab that tail, flip over, and we're going to tie the tails. So we have our 2 tails here. This is called our working yarn, by the way, guys. So the yarn that's attached to the skein, that's our working yarn. These are our tails. So I tie once, and then I'm going to tie a second time. And let's grab our working yarn. And as you can see, we have a perfect color change. Those are our tails. And that's how you do it. Perfect color change. each and every time. So that is all I have for our Crochet with JTYA. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. It's always a blast, as I always say. Thank you so much. And I am live tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So in just 6.5 hours, I am back with my traditional Sunday evening live. So hopefully I'll have a chance to see you there. If not, catch the replay. So that is all from me for now, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye, friends. Bye.